Where are home prices going over the next year? Welcome to the Real Estate Game Plan Podcast, where we bring you inspiration, actionable steps, and knowledge to build your game plan to take your real estate business to the next level. My name is Demo.
And I'm Derek, and we are licensed real estate brokers and your hosts for this podcast. Let's get started. I wish I had my crystal ball that I could pull out and just clean up and we could gaze into it. But I don't know. What do you think, Demo? I mean, I will just say, that those of you who look at the FMLS market report every month, and we put one out as well, month after month for a long time. This month or the most recent month compared to the year before, we've seen positive numbers.
Big
So,
numbers, even up to 21-ish%, right? So
yep.
huge price appreciation over even just the last year, which we all remember, 2021 prices were still going up. So, when you have a month over month in 2021 that was 6% or 10%, and then now 10, 20%, home prices have really appreciated. And a recent Case Shiller article that we were talking about earlier actually forecasts and talks about the appreciation through the years, but now forecasts over the next year. And it actually puts it at 5.9% appreciation more from where we are today. So into the future, they're still calling for a 5.9, almost 6% price appreciation. So, a lot of opinions out there. Things are going to go sideways and just stay flat from where they are. Can it keep going? Is it impossible? Is it even going to downturn? Which we really haven't seen that in a long time of price depreciation in the housing market. So,
Right.
a lot of factors happening. Obviously, a lot affects housing when it comes to the economy. A lot of different indicators and things like that, and we've been through those cycles. Even just as recently as '08, and then again, a little bit in that 17, 18, market, which was a little turbulent. So, Derek, what are some things that maybe you would look for if you were trying to forecast out for the next year? What are some indicators, maybe in the housing market specifically?
Right. That's a great question. So I know there's a lot of fear
Hmm.
out there that folks think that maybe we are going to experience a crash
Hmm.
like we did years ago.
Hmm.
But the market has been strong. I overall think it will continue to be strong. But one thing that I think about is what would need to be in place for things to turn the other way,
Hmm.
because it has been an extreme, and I mean extreme, seller's market for a few years now.
Hmm.
And one of the things that has caused that is there have not really been the foreclosures,
Hmm.
the short sales into the market. So it's been just your everyday seller just with a free reign.
Hmm.
So I think for things to really start to halt and balance out more,
Hmm.
I think we would probably need to see some
Hmm.
foreclosures,
Hmm.
maybe some short sales with the increase in interest rate. That may help some.
Hmm.
The depth of buyers should certainly shorten because of that. So
Hmm.
maybe instead of 20 multiple offers, maybe we only get 3 to 5,
Hmm.
or whatnot. So that's going to help some. But without that, I don't think we're going to continue to see the rapid increase.
Hmm.
I just feel like things are going to level off and just balance out more.
Sure. Well, I know there are a number of buyers who are looking forward to that if that does happen. I think we're in Metro Atlanta less than a month and a half, maybe even less than a month of months of inventory, and that's pretty much every zip code you pull, right?
Yeah,
Any stats you look at.
it really has been. I mean, I believe the last one that we put out there from FMLS was 16 and 17 days on the market, which is crazy. I can remember when I think we maybe had Mitchell Palm from Smart Data in, and when it got below 1 month,
Hmm.
it was like a headline. I think of even one of our videos,
Hmm.
and it's been well below 30
It's like
days now
0.3, point
for
four
a little while.
months of inventory. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely shortage there. And, home builders typically don't like to build in turbulent economic times, right? They aren't sure what prices are going to do of lumber or mortgage rates. They don't like to sit on a lot of inventory. So, where people think we're going to have new inventory to solve this issue, maybe not, right? Like if they feel good about things, then they're going to pump money into it and put that forward cost out and build. But if they don't feel great about things, then they won't. And so, it's a hard thing to do when sellers are also holding on to their homes because they feel like, well, I don't want to go put in an offer against 20 other offers and put my market on the home and essentially maybe not have anywhere to go. So
Absolutely.
chicken and
Yeah.
egg, right? Like what comes first?
Absolutely. Yeah. And, interesting with 2022, one thing we have seen too, talking about the numbers and specifically FMLS, is month after month, the inventory has been up a little bit.
Yes.
So it's one of the first times I have seen things go the other way.
Hmm.
So more and more inventory
Hmm.
is good
hmm
as well.
Yeah, it's. I was thinking about this. If I'm an agent meeting a client today, a buyer or seller, and trying to talk to them about what's happening in the market, and they say, maybe from the seller perspective, I want to price it at this price. Neighbors are selling, 3 days on the market. Well, if they were looking 30 days ago when that seller sold, it might be the case. Maybe this week might be a little bit different, right? Because it does change all the time. And if you really think about it, if there's a flood of sellers that all hit the market at the same time, then the supply goes up, right? And
Right.
and and so you have a lot of market dynamics going on, a lot of just basic economics that are coming into this picture, and it's so hard to pinpoint because it changes every day. And so if you are talking to that buyer or seller, you want to make sure you have a good reference point. Hey, this might be what's happening in your neighborhood 30, 60, 90 days ago. And you can pull reports to show that, absorption reports and things like that. But today, what we're seeing on the market right now is this, right? And kind of what we are seeing is maybe a seller that's looking to take advantage of mortgage rates not increasing at the rapid pace they have been for the first half of the year. And so maybe they're trying to get in front of that, but are their neighbors also trying to do that in their neighbors in the next neighborhood? So, you always have to look at real estate from what's happening today. Try to assist as much as you can on the knowledge you have, but a lot of the data and almost all the data, right, is behind us. It's looking in the past to try to build that picture, and it's really hard to do. To do that. So for that agent trying to help their buyer or seller, you can really show them what's happened, but let them know what is happening today. What are you seeing in the market? Talking to your broker team here or talking to fellow agents, what are you seeing in that specific area, in that specific market, with the numbers, but also with really what's happening? How many active listings went on the market this week versus last week in that area that you operate in? Those are going to be some powerful numbers that you can really bring and give a great picture to your client, because the client who was saying, I want to sell for 120% of list price, 3 months ago, may have gotten it. Now it may not. And, we may actually see properties go under under contract and sell for less than list price, right? Even at a reasonably listed price, or a place where it should have been. So there's a lot to consider.
There is, and we haven't seen it below. I believe it's currently at 103% maybe of list price, so that will be interesting
Yes.
if it drops below 100%. But no, you hit on some great points. Every neighborhood is different. Every
Hmm.
zip code's different. Every price point's different. For example, a property listed at 250 is probably going to be flooded
Hmm.
with offers
Hmm.
from investors, more cash offers versus your
Hmm.
$900,000 and up
Hmm.
property. So, and those actives, those pendings, in addition to the solds, that you mentioned, are very powerful because active is your competition
Hmm.
and pending deals may be future comps. Maybe those close before your contract does.
That's right. And one thing to think about if you represent a lot of buyers and you've been staring down the seller prefers no closing cost, no due diligence period, no anything, but they also want to stay in their home until 2024 rent backs. You're starting to kind of see a little bit of that change too. And so if you're representing that buyer or seller, really, what we talked about just a second ago is painting that picture of what's happening, because in their mind, they don't follow real estate like you do. And so, they may only see that neighbor that sold 2, 3, 6 months ago and know what happened there. Or maybe they themselves were a client 6 months or a year ago and things are different. It may not be drastically different. It's maybe there's 1.2 months of supply versus zero point 0.3, when really 6 months is a balanced market. So if we zoom all the way out and just think of things in the global picture, it's almost like you're looking at interest rates, mortgage interest rates, right? Like
Right.
we were talking about it, 18, 21% is extremely high. How many people would buy today if today was the first home they were buying and it was 21% and they knew about 3%? But when you're in that market and you're looking at it, you have to think about reference points, right?
Absolutely, because years and years ago, interest rate was significantly higher than
Mhm.
it is today. So it's definitely something to think about.
Yeah, and I think one of the main things to think about is some people look at their home as an investment. Some don't. Some just look at it as like it's a place I live. It covers the roof, and goes down in price or up in price. Probably more up than down, but I'm not going to look at it like that. But if you do take into consideration that places like this article we're talking about and other major publications and economists are thinking the price will still continue to appreciate, then maybe that helps offset some of that increase in the mortgage interest rate, right? Because if you're thinking, well, I'm not going to buy now, I'm going to buy later. Are you really riding on the fact that it's going to go from 5.5 to 5 or 4.5? Are we going to ever see 3, 2.5% like we saw over the last 6, 12 months? So who knows? We
Yeah.
don't know that, and there's not a lot to put on there because there's so many factors that go into that.
Yeah, it's tough because if you are a buyer and you're on the fence because you're just going to wait until next year or the next year for prices to go down, and there are buyers who we know have done that just
Hmm.
a year or two ago, and they're
Hmm.
still waiting, and now it's like, uh-oh,
Hmm.
because maybe the prices are going to go down. They're not yet,
Hmm.
but interest rates are also growing up. So even if the seller comes down on the price some, maybe my monthly mortgage payment is still more. And that's what most buyers are what is going to typically impact them the most
Hmm.
is going to be what is their monthly payment going to be.
Yeah, and on the seller side, now today may be the best time to sell over the next 12, 24 months, right? You may be at the peak of appreciation, or maybe we were there, a month or 2 or 3 months ago. But that's the other side of it. Is if you're looking to buy or sell, chatting with your real estate agent and you as the real estate agent, being up to date on the data, on the information, making sure that you're keeping aware of things that are happening, even in the mortgage rate industry, right? Just keeping a pulse on that is really going to help you serve your clients at a high level and make sure that you're the expert. So we're going to get into a prediction here. This article, 5.9% appreciation from where we are today to next year at this time. Derek, what's your guess?
Uh, I think that things are going to stay pretty steady with where they are now.
Okay,
I don't know that it's going to hit quite the what are they saying
5.9.
5.9. I'm going to just say that we're going to see something more like 4 to 4.5.
I was thinking that, but because you said that, I'm gonna say 3.7. So your number, 4 point.
I'll go with 4.5.
All right, I'm gonna say 3.7. 4.5, 3.7. They say 5.9. What's your guess? Put it in the comments below. We'd love to hear it, and we'd love to continue this conversation. So thanks a lot, Derek,
Yeah,
and thank you.
absolutely.
You've been listening to the Real Estate Game Plan podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube and leave us a 5-star review on your favorite podcast platform. Thank you for listening.